If you are a chronic people pleaser, then this message is for you. If you're somebody who has confidence and you're not worried about finding approval and validation through pleasing others, then don't worry about this message. This one is for people who struggle with needing approval, with needing to know that people approve of them. And if this is you, this is your tarot reading. We're going to start Sunday morning, July 12th, off with this message for the people who feel like they aren't enough. Now, I could offer you this message. It's going to sound like a hokey platitude. I could tell you that you're enough. I could tell you that you're perfect just as you are. That's hard to ingest. That's hard to internalize. That's hard to make our own. So I want to bring a couple of different perspectives to you. Now, people who need validation and approval from others, well, there's a lot that goes into that. Perhaps our childhood, the way we were raised, perhaps our public education. I was a child who really strove to get good marks in school. And just a few years ago realized that one of the reasons why I wanted to strive academically is because I was getting the approval and validation that I wasn't getting at home. I didn't have awful parents, don't get me wrong there. I just didn't have parents that were equipped with telling me what I needed to hear. And I needed a level of approval and validation that they weren't equipped to give me. They're the type of old New Englanders that very much will call you out on your shit. If you're failing or you're messing up or slipping up, they're going to call you out on it. But they're not going to celebrate you for what's expected. And what's expected is your excellence. I was expected to do well in school. I did my damnedest to do well in school. And when I brought home A's and B's, I wasn't celebrated. But when I brought home a C, I damn well heard about it. You might have had a similar past or similar upbringing. You might find that your exposure to Hollywood movies and all the things that you have taken in over the course of your life have given you this attitude that you're just not good enough, that you're not enough, that you could be more of this or less of that. I want to tell you that that is an awful way to spend your life. That is an awful way to spend your life. And I have sat with thousands of people who have hated themselves. I am a person who, over the course of my life, has spent a lot of my life hating myself. I don't anymore. I don't. There's a difference between being confident and being conceited. There's a difference between being full of yourself and being sure of yourself. And I want you to be sure of yourself, because that belief that you're not good enough is just that. It's a belief. It's not a fact. Your beliefs are beliefs because they can't be proven. If they can be proven, they can be a fact. For instance, water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius. That's not a belief. It's a fact. Now, I can believe, and there's lots of us who believe things like this, I can believe that water freezes at 35 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees Celsius, or whatever it ends up being. Just because I believe a thing doesn't make it a fact. You can use facts, though, to reinforce your belief. If you believe water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, you can use facts of science to back it up. You will never use beliefs to back up facts. You'll never use a belief to back up facts. Another, for instance, is I can believe in reincarnation. When it's proven that it happens, it's no longer a belief, it becomes a fact. So for you, that person who doesn't believe in themselves, who feels like they're a failure, that they can never get anything right, that they're not enough of this or too much of that, I want to remind you that it's simply a belief and not a fact. And how can we use facts to affect your belief? The facts of your truth, who you are, what you've done in this world. A question that I often ask people goes like this. If you had a daughter who was born into your life, been through everything that you've ever been through, turned her life into what you've turned yours into, would you be proud of that daughter? I imagine that the answer is yes. And you can look back on your past. You can look at what you've done, what you've accomplished, how hard you've worked, the people you've supported, how you've shown up for others. You can use the facts of your life to then affect the belief that you have in yourself. You'll never use belief to change fact, but you can use fact to change belief. I also want to express to you the pain that I feel from spirit. So every single one of us has people watching over us, wanting the best for us, loving us. And I see this sort of tragic cosmic irony unfold so often when I'm sitting with a person, most often a woman, who is incredible, heartfelt, devoted, a person of integrity, hard work, showing up for others, conscientious, compassionate. But she doesn't see any of it in herself. So their spirits are watching this person. You're amazing, you're beautiful, you're perfect, you're heartfelt, you show up. But she's got this story on the inside of her that's just not that, because for some reason, whether it's through shitty parenting or shitty partnering, this person has come to believe that they're not worthy. If this is you, I want you to know that you are worthy. And I want you to know that this is no way to spend your life. Picking up where people left off, no way to spend your life. Picking up where commercials and movies left off, no way to spend your life. Picking up where religion that taught you you're fallen or broken, oh my God, that is no way to lead your life. Adulting is simply successfully self-parenting. And if you're somebody who needs approval and validation from others, I want you to start finding it for yourself. I want you to start showing up for yourself, because I was that person. I was the person that looked for approval, needed it from others. I needed to be seen. I needed validation. But you know what happened to me that really fixed me? Is I came into relationship with a few really malignant narcissists. And while I wouldn't want to repeat those circumstances, I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for what they taught me about humanity, about themselves, but most importantly about me. I'm grateful for what they taught me about me. That I didn't need their approval or validation to begin with. That I didn't need to seek that approval from a mother figure or a father figure or whoever needs to give me that approval. That I am absolutely complete and perfect as I am. No matter what I look like, no matter what I do, I show up with authenticity, integrity, and hard work, and let the pieces fall where they may. Now, you might not be so lucky. If you're somebody who's really, really, really seeking the approval of others, that you need that validation, well, you run the risk of giving the power to other people to take it away from you. This is where knowing your truth comes in. When you know the truth of who you are, nobody can shake you from it. Nobody. So, I do a lot of work. I do a lot of work one-on-one. I do a lot of crowd work, audience work. And every once in a while, I will come across somebody who it does not matter the evidence that I give them. They're going to think I'm a fraud, think I'm a fake. I know that I'm not. I know that I'm not. I don't believe that I'm not. I know that I'm not. I know my truth. I use that truth of what I know about myself to affect my belief. See where I'm using facts to inform my belief? I love getting compliments from people. I get a fair share of them. And as much as I'm grateful for them, those cannot be the source of my validation. Because if somebody's compliment validates me, somebody's insult will invalidate me. And I don't want to lead a life like that. And I don't think you do either. So you, my people-pleasing friend, the person who's always seeking that approval and the pat on the back, here's 3 cards for you. The first card represents who you are right now. The Two of Pentacles. In tarot, the aces represent the full power, full essence of the suit. And the twos, when you go from ace to two, the two shows you the very first manifestation of that element in life, in our physical world. So here we have the Two of Pentacles. And for me, the story of this is when you come into Earth, no matter who you are, no matter what station you were born into, life is going to always have rocky waves. We see that in the background here with those ships, and we see that lemniscate, that infinity sign. I think it just represents, hey, no matter what, when you're on Earth, when you're human and you're born into this world, things are going to be challenging, things are going to be difficult, even for the easiest amongst us. This person is the juggler. Now they're juggling these balls, they're working through life. If you are seeking approval from people, that means you're working to earn it. And that means you're juggling a lot in this world. One of the things that you should not juggle is this need to know that you're worthy. I know it comes from a lot of different places. I know that it can sting a lot of folks. But this card right here is all about juggling the physical realm, the needs of our world, juggling. And we're always going to juggle. One of the things that we are going to juggle is that this world sets us up for failure from a very early age. Think about the world we're born into. Think about consumerism, capitalism, advertising. Think about how, if you have issues with your body, you were never born into this world having those issues. You picked them up along the way. So, advertising, Hollywood, beauty standards, all of that, that's something that we have to juggle. We have to understand it. Maybe we toss it over our shoulders. Maybe we let it go. Maybe we still have to juggle it. But that card encourages us to have fun when we can. The card that challenges you right now is the King of Cups. So here's this element of fun. The King of Cups right here. For me, the energy of this card is that of Gomez Addams. If you're familiar with the Addams family, especially the movies of the 90s, that's who the King of Cups is. Gomez, passionate, heartfelt, full of love, full of passion. They know that love is the most important reason why we're here. Now, love is the most important reason why we're here. That's what I truly believe. You are juggling things that are causing you to unlove yourself. That's Earth, right? That's Earth. So here we are juggling all of these messages, programs, commercials. You know, who was it? Twiggy, Mia Farrow, you know, those really skinny women of the 60s. And then you had Farrah Fawcett in the 70s, her poster, Brooke Shields, Christy Brinkley, Kim Basinger of the 80s, Cindy Crawford, maybe of the 90s, you know, Jennifer Aniston, Friends, you know, on and on and on. Now we have Kim Kardashian. Ugh. Like, we have all of these ridiculous beauty standards that we're given that we're going to fail to meet because that's not reality. That's just not reality. Reality is going to require us to juggle all of those messages, programs. And it breaks my heart that so many people die every day having hated their body for 60, 70, 80 years, only to die to discover that they were beautiful and they just didn't know how to understand advertising. The card that heals and reveals for us is this, the Eight of Pentacles. We are always a work in progress. Always. We'll never be completely finished, nor should we be. Even to your very last breath, you'll be working on yourself to find peace and understanding for yourself. I believe the spiritual path, and I'll use a little visual aid here. Imagine if this little crystal represents your soul. Well, you come into Earth, and now here's advertising, here's movies, here's, you know, the mother out there who said, you know, women should, you know, be a size 2 or whatever. You know, we get so inundated with these programs. We work on ourselves to understand how capitalism and advertising and our shitty parents messed us up. all parents are shitty. All parents mess up their kids to one degree or another. The best parents, even out there, have an impact on their kids. But we understand the influences that happen to us so we can get back to the beauty of this. Because this is our ego and this is our soul, and we always see life through the ego. We always see life through that lens that makes up who we are. But if you're a people pleaser, if you're somebody who's always seeking approval, validation, all of that good stuff, I want you to imagine what you would tell somebody else who needed the same. I'm sure you'd show up for them and say, hey, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're this, you don't need approval, you're worthy. If that's the guidance that you would give other people, why aren't you giving it to yourself? Hard question, right? On this day, the day of the sun, Sunday, I want you to consider how important it is to finally show up for yourself. Like a parent, a healthy parent would show up for a child. Show up for yourself. Parent yourself with love and grace and dignity. Don't beat yourself up, and don't seek approval outside of you from places that will ultimately just take it away once they give it to you. That's it. Know your worth, because your time here is limited. All my love to you. Take care of yourself. Find my readings, my podcasts, my books on my website at joshsimons.com. Have a great Sunday.